Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bears on Tap, a podcast about the Chicago Bears presented to you by On Tap Sportsnet. I'm your host, Brandon Suarez. You can follow me on Twitter at Bdon300, and you can follow our main account at Bears on Tap. Today, we are going to be recapping the 49-29 loss at Jerry World. It's still Justin's World. Still did a great job out there today. Still kind of like what we're looking for in these games is to have good performances from individual players, but you give up 49 points at any level of football, probably not going to win that game.
Probably not going to win that game.
Probably not going to win the game.
So. Probably not a good idea. You know what? Bdon, I would have given my kidney, I would have given my left kidney to, or whatever you want to say. I would have given up something, my left nut,
Your
to score 29
ritual.
points. Yeah, my halftime ritual. To score 29 points in a game, and you give up 49 points.
Yeah, dude, and I was actually looking after the first quarter at like live bets, and the Bears to score 3 touchdowns at that point was only plus 200. And you know how I have been the last few weeks talking about
super pervert.
Well, not that, but the Bears, their values are so under fucking, they're undervalued. And Adam Amin, which I hate that he gets. I like that he gets our games, but I hate that he gets our games because when he gets our games, we get smoked. And it's like I already hear his voice enough when the Bulls get drubbed or when the Bulls lose in a way that they shouldn't. Like, don't put that harm on me. But what'd you do? We spotted him 14 right away, like right out the gates.
Got in the hole.
Yeah, got in the hole, and you end up losing the game by 20. Second quarter was great. Parts of the third quarter were great, but Montgomery fumbling uncharacteristic. The defense literally not showing the ability to stop any single one running play at all. Like they couldn't stop anyone, no matter what was the backup, whether it was Pollard, whether it was Dak, whether it was Jerry fucking Jones. Like it didn't matter. Couldn't stop anyone. And I think the worst thing about it for the Bears is like we talked about it on the pregame show. You have your high-flying win on Monday Night Football. You put your best foot forward, great defensive performance, great offensive performance, and then you just tell Robert Quinn to fuck off. And I'm not saying that's a direct result on how the defense performed today, but the way the defense performed today is something I didn't think I would see from us at all this season. I even said after the Packers game, like, I know the Packers didn't kill us, but I was like, we won't lose another game by 3 possessions or more for the rest of the season. So I was wrong.
I didn't think we would either, just the way that they were playing close against everybody. The defense has been really good for the most part all season. So, like, while this game is, like, ridiculously bad,
yeah,
it's pretty uncharacteristic from what we've seen this year. Like, this is not the defense that – and like you said, though, how much did that play into it, the losing of Robert Quinn? Like, how demoralizing was that?
Roquan looked down. Nicholas Morrow looked down. And I'm not just saying, like, down, like, I lost my brother, like, blah. No, they didn't look good on the field. And that first touchdown drive, I was like, fuck, dude, we are about to get boat raced. Like, and then, we're a hard fighting team. We're a second half team, as we've talked about on this podcast, but it was not like an effort that I thought on the defensive side of the ball, no matter which way you cut it, that we were going to get out of there and win that game. Because they had a couple, situations where they got stops. The Eddie Jackson pick was great, huge momentum switch, and you call a great first 2 plays, right? And then you just run it into each other's asshole twice, and then
your favorite.
Yeah. So didn't like that. Fields was running all around. Fields was extending plays and creating first downs with his legs. And again, putting the ball on the money, and receivers were dropping it. So someone in the chat, I think I know who that is. We're not gonna put that comment up. I know who that is. It's a burner account.
Is that an Ohio burner account?
Yeah, it's a burner account that's currently eating a bowl of Skyline chili.
They're not deactivating?
As all my bets lose. Started off today hot.
So I started out, I thought it was like going to be smoking it.
And I thought the Bears were definitely going to cover the way they were playing.
That's the like you said, man. The second quarter much better. The end of that second quarter leading up to halftime, you would have liked to see them punch it in there for a touchdown.
Yeah.
But getting the field goal and then like the Eddie Jackson pick right there, that's huge, man. Like that was huge. Like you thought that they had a chance in this game, and Morrow, like to your point too about we were talking about Robert Quinn. That very first play, I think he had a stop in the backfield. That very
Yeah.
first play, and I'm like, okay, like there's some emotion, there's some intensity, and then it just went all downhill after that defensively. Like
Yeah.
after 2 scores, you give up 2 scores immediately like that. I said the same thing. I'm like, dude, this is going to be like this could be a shootout or just disgusting.
Well, and I think the over-under was 43, and that was done by halftime. And, I mean, the Bears in back-to-back weeks have a 4-touchdown performance.
Yeah, I mean, this offense, man,
the
like
offense, it's not, now the offense is getting points, and now we can't get a fucking stop to save our life. So it's just like 1 step forward, 2 steps back as usual. But I just don't
it's
know.
like the Mel Tucker days, to be honest. Like,
he's in some hot water today too. I don't know if you saw what happened up.
I didn't. Maybe you
Ann
don't want
Arbor.
to say it. Is it bad?
Well,
From the fight?
Yeah, he didn't do nothing, but his players were involved in a fight after the game. So yeah, poor Mel. But right now, the way I look at it is you have a team that's competitive as fuck, right? Like we have good players on our team, maybe not good, but players that are developing and that put out good performances. And if you score 29 points in an NFL game, you should have a lot better chance than you did this afternoon to win that game. And it's frustrating in a sense that you didn't really see an aggression to push the ball down the field too often. And a lot of times, even when we were down like 17, 18 points at certain points in the game, it's like run, pass, punt. And I thought the way Fields was dotting the ball over the field, no pun intended. And I mean, we saw Cole Kmet touchdown today. You can't lose games that Cole Kmet scores a touchdown in. You know what I'm saying? Because since the Detroit game that we also lost. So maybe we keep him off the scoreboard because when he scores, we don't win. But yeah, I liked what I saw out of Mooney. Herbert had the fumble that got overturned. Montgomery had the fumble, which let's talk about that, right? Justin Fields, it defied all logic that he did not just like even put a single bit of his body on him, right? Like that was fucking mind blowing. And I have to ask you, do you think it's harder in that situation to not touch Micah Parsons than it is to touch him?
I mean, he looked like he was avoiding him, right? Like he jumped over him. Like
there's the -110 man right there.
He's like, I don't want to touch this dude. Like, he's going to knock me out he's going to get up and flip me on my head. Like, I don't know. To me, it just seemed like all he had to do was kick him, and he's down right
kick him and then just give him an Albert Hainsworth, dude.
Just punt him right in the face. Yeah. Give him the, what was that one WWE finisher move? Was it Randy Orton, the punt? Give him the punt.
I think it's the RKO.
No, he had the RKO too, but he had like another one when he was like, early on in his career. I think he called it like the punt or something. I could be wrong. Somebody who's listening to this, hopefully that's a wrestling fan. Maybe that deactivated account can help us out. I know he likes wrestling.
One note on that drive too before the end of the half, dude. Now that I look back at it, if EQ would have caught that ball,
dude, and then Vela
if EQ would have caught that ball, I'm Bezos right now.
Oh, I forgot about that. That $5 bet.
I put in a little $5 parlay. It was Cole Kmet, Justin Fields, and EQ all to score. I would have put one in with Harry, but I didn't know the workload. And it was plus 20,000.
That was insane odds.
I've listened for $5. I've done way worse things with $5. I used to eat McChickens religiously, like when I was a little fat kid when I was younger. But
you sound like me betting on John Daly to be the first round leader. Like,
yeah. So I think from a standpoint of offensive growth, from a standpoint of you went into a game against a team that's not going to allow 29 points that many more times this season, if at all. That's one of the top defenses in the NFL. And on top of it being a top defense, that pass rush, as we saw today, there was the one I think it was the 2-point conversion where we called hike, and I am like screaming in my family room because I don't know what it was, if someone was pulling or what happened, but before I could even blink, Fields was in the backfield and the defensive end was, yeah, right on
Dude,
top. Dude, that I was like, he's not getting up after this. That was a nasty hit, full speed, no targeting, obviously. It was a clean hit, but it was just like, you cannot allow to let Justin Fields take those hits.
it was like he didn't even see him either. Like he didn't even look and he got
Well,
whacked.
it goes back to
but it was right up the middle
our
though.
theory of when he gets smoked, when he just gets smacked around back there, he starts playing better. And
He did too.
I really don't have many complaints about his game today. Like, we know what we're going to get from this offense, in a sense that it's going to be hard to score points, it's going to be hard to move the football, and it's going to be hard to put together long drives. And I think today we did all three of those things. It just wasn't a complete game from the whole team. And turnovers, you lose the turnover margin. We talked about that on the pregame. You had to win the turnover margin in this one if you wanted to have a chance. You needed to find extra possessions in the game. And, giving up a defensive touchdown, letting Tony Pollard literally do whatever the fuck he wanted. He had 3 touchdowns today. I just...
And their backup scored his first career touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, I really think that the people on the defensive side of the ball have to take a long look in the mirror and just be like, look, a lot of those guys are young guys. A lot of those guys probably first opportunity to get this type of playing time. You got to just dig deep and do better, because the lack of consistency will kill us. If we get another game where we score 29 points, and I fully expect us to win that game. Like, come on, dude. We have to win that game.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a short week. You're coming off of a road game in New England, a huge, you would think morale was super high, emotional win.
Yeah.
And then you have the emotional loss of Robert Quinn, and then you're going to another road game, tough place to play on turf, playing Dallas in their house, Jerry World. Like, it's not an easy situation that the Bears walked into this week. There's a reason why the spread was 10.5 or 10, closing at 10 or whatever it was. Like, it was not an easy situation to go into, but I can guarantee you one thing. I know there's a lot of shit out there being thrown out on social media about Eberflus and like the defense should be better than this. And the defense has been really good for the most part all season. They need some pieces up front. Like, they need a 3-tech. They need another edge rusher at least.
Yeah, they need another edge rusher.
Yeah, that you just lost.
Yeah.
That was probably soaking up some nice double teams for everybody else, even though we haven't had much pass rush this season to speak of. But, like, just looking at it, I would not want to be a defender this week going into practice. Like, they are going to get their asses chewed out and worked extremely hard. I mean, they get worked probably harder than most teams in practice anyways, just based on the philosophy that the coaching staff has that Flus carries. But, like, this week in particular, 49 points, they got another thing coming, man. They're going to get smacked in the mouth.
Everybody on the line, bro. You know how that shit goes.
Suicides and everything.
They're doing there was this one that we used to have to do when I was younger, and it was, instead of running the full length of the field, you would run so you would start in the end zone, you'd run to the 5-yard line, run across, run back, run to the 10, run across, run back, and then all the way down, all the way back. It had to have been child abuse now that I think about it, but because that's so many yards. And yeah, I pray for what the fuck they're going to try to do. Who do we even have next week? Do you have the schedule pulled up? I didn't even see. Isn't it the Dolphins?
I believe it is the Dolphins next week. I'll pull it up real fast, though. Yeah, we do have the Lions coming, too, and I think that's the week after.
Yeah, so you take the Dolphins on at home, which already off rip is going to be a weather game, hopefully, that we can use to our advantage. We're such scumbags, but I think that they don't really run the ball that well, right? They do one thing well. They do one thing well, and they get the ball to Tua, or Tua gets the ball to Jalen Waddle and Tyreek, and Gesicki had another touchdown today, and they had a comeback win against the Lions. So a team not necessarily to be too scared of, but if they get going, it can get scary. Like last week, what was it? They played Sunday Night Football, and it started like 13-0, and we're just all sitting here like, okay, what are they gonna do? Put up 40 points on the fucking Steelers, and then of course the game slowed down. But I don't think
Tomlin.
I don't think many people expected the Bears to put up much of a fight in this game, and I think offensively they did mostly what we asked of them. I don't think any of us had a score prediction that had them getting that many points, or in fact, they had 17 points in the span of like 8 minutes in the second quarter. And I think when the defense is playing aggressive, because I feel like that interception too, like Dak was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? They just scored a touchdown. Like we're gonna erase that real quick." Like that angry kid who's got to take his ball and go home, that kind of kid. And I basically think that the way that play worked out was he's just pissed, chucked it down the center of the field, and Eddie was right there. I was hoping Eddie could have ran it back for a touchdown,
I
but
was thinking he might too.
yeah, that's one of the guys that we need to have continuously great performances. And then Roquan, who is going through a lot this week, didn't have his best game. And I think one thing that kind of resonates with this game that we watched at the beginning is like those first few drives, those passes were too easy, man. There was too much space. Vildor was getting cooked. Gordon was getting cooked. I saw one, not many where Brisker was getting cooked, but I definitely, saw a few out there where it's like nobody is safe today. Dak is kind of back, and they don't have the same arsenal of receivers that they had before. So it's
A lot of that too, Bdon. Like, I don't know if you were thinking this, like watching the game, but like some of that just seemed like Kellen Moore. I don't want to give the guy too much credit, but like it kind of felt like he understood where the weak spots were going to be within the defense, and like sometimes the linebackers it just looked like they were floating out there and waiting for receivers to come into their lane of where they were covering, and like
yeah,
they
it
would
was
just
like
stop.
more cush coverage. Like it wasn't.
Super wide open though. Like it wasn't like the receivers had to do too much. It was kind of pathetic watching it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it has to get better going into the matchup that we have this week, because if you do that against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, you're fucked.
Oh, they're gonna kill you. They catch the ball with open space, dude. They are going to kill you because they'll make it a touchdown almost every time. They're that fast.
Yeah, and I would say from a receiver standpoint, it's going to be scary when we get that one guy that can change it in the drop of a hat. Like we have Mooney right now. Mooney's good, but we need a superstar. We need I don't even know which type of receiver would be the best for our offense, like a quick guy, a possession guy, an AJ Brown guy who had 3 fucking touchdowns today. But I just look at our offense and I'm like, Fields was putting the ball all around the yard today. We had plenty of missed opportunities. Obviously, we didn't have a lot of time, so a lot of the stuff was rushed. But when given the time, I thought the passing game did all right. I think he only had 150 yards on the day, so obviously the expectations are so low. And one thing too, I'll say this: I was not very happy that he came out at the end. I needed a little bit more.
You know what? I barely hit that passing plus rushing prop, the
Yeah.
208.5, barely because of.
Oh, was it like a combo?
It was the combo I did, yeah. But honestly, dude, he should have. If they would have left him in, he easily. If that game doesn't get super out of hand like that,
He would have hit all that shit.
It's another reason to be pissed at the defense. It's also a reason to be pissed at the playmakers we do have this year, because it's like, dude, you can't drop the ball as many times as they drop the ball in key situations. When he drops dime balls in there deep, like Valus and like some of these other ones.
Yeah, the Valus one. He made up for it after that in other spots of the game, and he's fast as shit. But
I want to see him get the ball more.
His hands, bro, dropping muffin punts, dropping catches.
He's got the speed, but yeah, those hands.
When he gets the ball, it's hard to get to him. And even when you get to him, he's a pretty big player. He's not a small guy, so he's a hard tackle. But I just you got to see more from your playmakers. And even we were talking about it during the game when the players were making the plays. Like, okay, like stop just running it right up the gut. Like we can expand more on our offense. I felt like there was times in the game where we were handicapping ourselves because the Cowboys were giving us a decent amount in the passing game. They were playing overly aggressive. They were looking for interceptions.
Yeah, I
A lot
was
of time, a
wanting
lot of
them to
times,
air it a little bit
yeah,
more.
no, a lot of times in this life when you go looking for shit, you're not gonna find it. I promise you, right? Like you remember growing up and be like, "Mom, I can't find my toy. I can't find my toy." Can you look for it? 2 seconds later, she finds it. But when you look for it, you ain't about to find that shit. I promise you.
You'll find it the next day when you're not looking for it.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Where's my phone at? It's like in your hand while you're looking for it type situation. You feel me?
Bro, I honestly think too, like a lot of this is I know people want to do the Montgomery and Khalil Herbert thing, but like he doesn't get the blocks necessary to even make that many plays when he's out there getting the ball, when Montgomery's getting the ball. So like Herbert's fast as fuck though. Like some of those plays, those pitch plays that Montgomery gets, he doesn't have the speed to hit that corner like Herbert does. You know what I mean? But like the rushing yards in this game, I know Fields is responsible for a lot of it. But like, what do they rush for? 240 yards or something like that? Like,
Yeah. 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns given up. I haven't even looked at the box score because I'm sure it's a bloodbath. But
no, the Bears had 240 and the Cowboys had 200 rushing yards. So I mean, it was pretty lethal on the ground.
we are like the number one rushing team though in the NFL. I think
But
they
like you
said
said
that during the
though,
broadcast.
yeah, like you said though, that opens up stuff for the pass. They could have easily aired that out just a little bit more, like because he was kind of feeling it. It looked like Fields was starting to feel it too. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and go back on like it's 29 points. When you put up 29 points, you should win the freaking game. Like it really wasn't on the offense, but
All right, so let's look up the bloodbath score. So, giving up. So, dude, Dak 21-27. Like those are fucking Madden numbers, bro. 250, 2 tutties and a pick.
yeah,
And then rushing the ball. My computer's a piece of shit. So yeah, again, Madden numbers. Tony Pollard, 14 carries, 131 yards. 9.4 yards a fucking carry. And then you give up 6.8 to Dak with 5 for 34. And then, you giving up 5 catches to CD, 6 to Dalton Schultz, 4 to Gallup.
they gave up like 80 yards on that one quarterback sneak.
Oh,
You kidding me?
my God, dude. When I said that to you during the game, that I've only ever seen that in action, I meant it. That was a action fucking play. It was ugly. But
There's no reason he should have even gotten 2 more yards than he did. Like
and
when
that's
he
a
was
man,
right there.
That's a man that's, when he comes on the field, you hear in the eyes of the angel, and you just think of like all, those commercials, in the eyes of the angel, and it's like all the pets that like, please adopt me. That's what you think of when you see that man. But yeah, all right.
I just think
Talk me off the ledge. I don't want to do players of the game. I feel like
it's just Fields, right? Like, well, who else?
Yeah.
Komet, maybe?
It's Fields and yeah, maybe Herbie. Didn't he have 2 touchdowns?
Herbert had a good game. Herbert had a really good game,
Yeah,
man.
let's we'll look at the bright side. So
outside of that almost fumble, he had a really good game.
yeah, Herbie had 99 yards, a tutty. Fuck, man. Montgomery 15 for 53. Valus 2 for 33. I mean, all just kind of mid, the whole team right now. And it's beautiful. All in 1 week, in the span of 6 days, you've seen our entire life as Bears fans, the full cycle, right? Like beating our chest over here on Monday night, beat the shit out of the Patriots at their house. You get a little bit of hope going into Dallas. You think you have an opportunity to maybe do something down there. And I won't say it wasn't Justin's world because I think Justin played well, but you have to play a full 4 quarters of football to beat a team in that echelon of the NFL in that tier. and we just did not do that. So
It's rough, man. We got to go back out there and get them next week. They got to get Miami at home, get a little bit of home cooking, get prepared, kind of reality sets back in once you get slapped in the mouth like this. Like, hey, we have to pretty much play perfect on defense in order to stop you because we don't really have all the tools necessary on both sides, on offense or on defense. So you have to be sound. You have to know your assignments. And you have to be hungry. You have to swarm to the ball. You have to create turnovers.
Yeah, because that's another thing too. Like, I'm never going to come on here and say that people are not trying, like, flat out. But
right,
it didn't look like that same effort that we saw on Monday.
Yeah, and it's not
a little bit different.
And it's not necessarily like just not trying. It's just like there's a special intensity you need to play in the NFL at the NFL level. I feel like when you're going up against the Tony Pollards of the world, the Dak Prescotts, like you have to have that little extra gear to be able to stop those guys. You can't just go in there like I'm trying hard. Like, no, it's like I'm on fucking beast mode today in order to do it.
Yeah, so I don't know. This is one of those games where it's like in a blowout, you don't have too much to talk about other than this was painful. I thought it was maybe as fun of a blowout, if you will, if that's possible, because like you have big momentum shifting plays. You got the lead down to 5. You had the chance to bring it down to 3. You had a chance to get a goddamn 3-for-1. You got 2-for-1 before the half. Could have got a 3-for-1. Didn't do that. And if you got the 3-for-1, that would have utilized the turnover in the positive way, and you would have maybe had a better chance to win it at the end of the game. But we weren't able to do it, and we're on to Miami. And unfortunately for the Bears, that game is not in Miami. Fortunately for their personal life. Fortunately for the Bears on the field, that game is in Chicago. Got to protect the home field. And I don't know. I'm hoping that we can get some form of like maybe a little early snow and just tell Miami that we don't want them here.
I think that'd be good. That'd be the perfect home cooking. We need what we had, that kind of home field advantage like we had against San Francisco this week, except with snow.
Because I would have definitely been looking forward to Robert Quinn and Travis Gibson trying to get to it. Now it's just like, okay, Robinson's good.
Just Travis Gibson. I like Robinson.
Yeah, Robinson had a good game today, I think. But yeah, the sum of the parts did not click today, and because of that, the Bears lost this one 49-29. We'll be back with you guys though. Like we said last week, we're going to be doing Thursday night this week to preview the Miami game. I got maxing going for the next 3 weeks, so my life's about to get super hectic, but that's neither here nor there. The Bears dropped this one 49-29. Joey, do you have any final wrap-up thoughts for this afternoon's game?
I like what I saw from Justin Fields. The defense, whatever. You got cooked by a pretty good quarterback and a really good running back, a good system over there, good game plan against you. You didn't come with what you needed to defensively, but offensively, man, he just continues to improve each week, I think, with Justin Fields. And that's the best part about this entire season, I think. Even, like, who cares about the record and this and that? I know a loss sucks, and I feel it. I feel every loss that this team has, like, really feel it. Like, that fucking sucks every time they lose. But, like, he's getting better, man. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's all. That's the small wins that you find in a season like this where you know you're not really going to be a contender is just, are we getting better every week? Are we competing in these games? And obviously by the scoreboard, you wouldn't have thought it was a very competitive game, but we did see some good stuff out there. And like we said a couple minutes ago, we are on to Miami. We'll be back with you guys on Thursday night to get you guys ready for this weekend's matchup. Hopefully the full injury report will be out by then. So obviously this week was a short week, so everything was a little bit delayed. But throw us a follow at Bears on Tap. Throw Joey a follow at Joey Knows Nothing. I can be found at Bdon300. And like I said, we'll be back with you guys on Thursday night. The Bears dropped this one 49-29. We really do appreciate you for tuning in to this episode of Bears on Tap. Got nothing else for you guys. And bear down.
Bear down.